So, these are just highlights and things that I think we should try to remember from this first 2 months together. Cool. So the first chapter we went over was like tools of the trade, and I think by now you all know what a massage table is and all that kind of good stuff. So we are not going to go back through all that stuff. I'm just highlighting things though that might still matter to you and things like that. If you go purchase a table, I recommend, and we've already talked about this, don't worry, I'm not going to go into gory detail about this, but I recommend you get the wider the better for massage tables. That's out of that entire thing, that's my words of wisdom. Most people, your book made a big deal about certain inches and things like that. The wider the better. 32 or 33 I think is the widest they make them, and get them, because you will have a client that fills that table up. And I have found tables with extra space are great for my legs. So like right now, even I'm talking to you right now, I have a leg propped up on the table next to me. It's just a comfortable way to change my stance from time to time and to use the table as leverage. Sometimes I plop my arm down on the table, right? And I need space on the table to do that. So just a side thought, but wider is better if you buy another massage table. We got you the widest portable ones you can get. I don't remember what the inches are on them, but for what it's worth, we did. Your book made all sorts of really like specific things about table height, that it should touch your fist, and we looked at all that, and that's kind of true for textbooks that need to make rules, but really the fact is the higher your table is, the less strength you have, but the easier it is on your back. The lower your table is, the more power you have, but the harder it is on your back, because you tend to be getting over your moves. So when you have hydraulic tables, like when I've worked in places with hydraulic tables, I'm not using a table height, meaning I'm not using the same table height, right? I raise it up for certain moves, and halfway through the massage, I lower it down, and when I'm getting to other stuff, I raise it back up, and just because I have that choice. So don't be afraid to move around. We said that if you have to clean sheets, chlorine and hot water, bleach and hot water are the way to go. It's because it kills most pathogens. It also destroys your sheets, eventually. But that's the way it goes. Doesn't destroy them overnight. But anyway, so we want to leave you with that little thing. Your book mentions electric table warmers. I recommend them too, by the way, because we're always fighting this battle of trying to keep the client warm and the room cold. So when you're doing 4 to 6 hours of massage a day, you want to stay cool. You're working hard. And so usually you're trying to keep your room cold, but then your client's cold, and so table warmers. Use modesty towels. We highly advise that even with your private clients, you use modesty towels. So you guys are all using them in lab right now. It's the towel over the sheet. In theory, this towel serves no purpose. There's already a sheet there. But from a security point of view, you guys have now experienced it. It makes you feel more covered. And the towel comes in handy for lots of stuff that comes up during massage. So what I mean is stuff like, oh, I need a breast drape all of a sudden. Well, now I've got a towel, right? Oh, I've got extra oil on my hands. Well, now I've got a towel. Oh, I need to wrap something around a leg so I can pull on it and stretch it differently. Well, now I've got a towel. Oh, I want to do this neat neck thing where I roll your thing around. Now I've got a towel. I mean, use the towel all the time. They're just kind of cool to have on. And I like them better than blankets, because blankets, if your client's hand lays on the blanket, which it will, you've got to wash the entire blanket. I'd rather wash a towel than a blanket. It just starts to become very cumbersome after a while. When you're picking your massage lotions, hypoallergenic. Probably some of the biggest problems I dealt with in the spa were people's allergic reactions to things and people slipping and falling. But allergic reactions are a big one, right? So I would find a lubricant you like, stick with it, and know what the ingredients are in it. I don't mean memorize them, but have them available. And Tapscott is telling you to avoid in all your massages too much oil. Avoid too much oil. I'm not saying never. I have had times I've put loads of oil on a client, but in general, I get worried when somebody's giving me a massage and I feel lots of oil in their hands, because at that point, they've lost the ability for deep tissue. They don't have enough grip for deep tissue. Oil is supposed to be there to remove the irritation of moving along the skin, not to remove all friction. So just be careful about too much oil. And people don't like it on their clothes either when they get up after their massage because they got oil over everything. We talked to you guys about cross-contamination, which was this concept that when I rub you, and this is my oil bottle, which it's not, but when I rub you and I touch this, that even when I go wash my hands, when I get my next client and I grab this oil bottle again, I've really just picked that old client up again. I'm going to rub it on you. So cross-contamination is this concept of making sure to wipe down things that you touch in between washing your hands. And usually washing your hands in the sheet is enough, but the oil bottle is a great thing to hold bacteria. It's a great thing to hold bacteria that people kind of forget about. That's why we mention it again. Essential oils. Essential oils are blended at 1 to 5%. I put this in here for one reason only, not so you remember that, but to remember it's a small amount of essential oils in a carrier oil. A lot of essential oils like eucalyptus are really strong. And even at 5%, they're really strong. And they'll burn people, so keep the percentages low to whatever they recommend. So that was more just kind of make you aware of that. And test your oils that you blended on yourself. Nails. What do we think about nails? You shouldn't have any. I should just see bloody stumps out there. Disgusting bloody stumps in the audience because you pulled them out one by one. Yeah. Okay. That's it. That was the highlights from Chapter 3. Yay, Chapter 3. I didn't really like Chapter 3 that much, but that was it. So, I almost didn't even go over that chapter with you guys. I promised not to bark at you this whole time, but I wanted to kind of refresh your memory about some of the stuff we talked about. We talked about other stuff in Chapter 3, but it's stuff that now if I went over it again, you'd be like, well, I know that. Like, that's obvious. I know what a bolster is. I know what these things are. So I just went over the highlights. So really, keep your clients covered. Use a towel. Wash your hands. And that might sound juvenile, and I'm not trying to talk down to you, but it will solve 99% of all problems when it comes to pathogens and things like that. Wash your hands, wash your sheets. Keep your client covered. Okay, questions on that? No, there's not much to talk about. Sorry. Okay. Then we went to exciting chapter number 7 to talk about body mechanics and client positioning and draping. And some highlights of body mechanics are to learn to work from your core. Remember, we try not to do our massage with our arms. I'm not saying this never happens, but the idea is my arms stay still and my core moves, which is creepier on film than this. Yeah. All right, but do that. Keep your arms straight and neutral if you can. Neutral means we try to avoid bent wrists. This is better than this or this. Use your table to your advantage. Now, a lot of chain massage places don't want you to use your table to your advantage because they don't want you getting too close to the client, which is kind of weird because you have to massage them. But I use my table for leverage all the time. I'm often locking my hip into the table and grabbing a client or something like that. Use your table to your advantage. Don't underestimate, too, the therapists that I see. I mean, they put body mechanics in this area. But the real issue, in my opinion, is therapists that come to work not well rested, not well fed, not stretched out. Because they come in tired, and we just talked about this yesterday. Ms. McDowell and I were talking about this yesterday. When the muscles get tired is when the problems start. It's not really about your posture as much as people would like to make it. It's about your posture getting tired. And so you need to be in decent shape. And you do that by preparing at least the night before. So, I've definitely lived a much less subdued life in the past, but I sure was very careful about going out partying before I had 6 or 8 massages to do. And I was a pretty wild guy in my younger years, but you just can't do it. It can't be done. You end up injuring yourself. You're not there. It's all sorts of stuff. So I want to pull a little bit of your attention off body mechanics and put it back onto what did you do last night? You know, and I think Miss Trotter actually set a great example for us here, where she said, I spent some time taking care of myself today. Nap, walk, salad, book, that kind of stuff. Last but not least, this one's super huge. I have mentioned it before, but I'm mentioning it again. If something hurts, stop doing it that way. I didn't say stop doing it. Stop doing it that way. And the one I'm thinking of is this. I can't tell you how many therapists tell me my thumb is wrecked. And I go, well, how long has it been bothering you? And always they tell me stuff like, oh, the last 18 months. It's not something they did that day. It's been hurting, and I'm like, why didn't you stop doing your neck moves that way? Well, because I think it won't be good, and I think the client's going to be able to tell. I'm like, well, now the client can really tell because now you can't massage anymore. Honestly, they can't tell as much as you think. Switch it up. When you get this little twinge here or whatever, switch it up. Get rid of your thumbs. Stop using them. You'd be surprised what you can do. You know, there are people without arms that can drive cars and open doors with their feet. You can do a massage without your thumbs if that's what's bothering you. So don't be afraid to stop doing something when it hurts and to keep massaging. It's a really useful skill, and you will come out a better therapist. Because you get that much better with those other things so that when you bring your thumbs back online, you've got this kind of magical tool in the background, or your wrists, or your elbow, or your shoulder, or whatever it is. Okay, I know I'm kind of preaching the choir, but I just wanted to, that's the stuff that worries me. We already talked about leverage, getting over your moves. And we talked about body positions. Do we all know what these body positions are? Mr. Brown, what does prone mean?
Prone is when you're laying face down.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Young. Miss Young, what is, oh, she turned off. What?
Yeah.
What does supine mean? Do you know what supine means when somebody is laying supine? So not prone, but supine.
Yeah.
So it's laying face up on your back.
Yeah.
Supine, yes. There you go. All right, so prone face down, supine face up. Good, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's good, thank you. And side lying is laying on their side, literally. You will sometimes hear people talk about recumbent, which is just them reclining on your table with lots of pillows underneath them. And seated massage is, by the way, chair massage. And we will get to that. You guys will do some chair massage. We might even have a chair massage event. So, draping. Draping. Yes? Yes. Ms. Routson, why do we drape? Why do we drape clients? Would it be easier if they were just naked?
Yeah.
It would be, actually.
It's for them to feel comfortable and to maintain professionalism.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget. Yeah, thank you. Don't forget, guys, draping is for you, too. It really is. Like, it kind of is setting a boundary with the client. It's very helpful for them, too. And I tell you that because sometimes you get a client who goes, oh, I don't care about the draping. That's a slippery slope to go down. They might just be saying that, but that's a slippery slope to go down. So I always say, oh, the draping's for me, too. I'm always smiley and stupid. Draping's for me, too. It's very hard to argue with that. Oh, yeah. It would be distracting. Like, it's okay. It's for me, too. That's my boundary, too. So don't forget, draping's for the client and the therapist. And it, by the way, is required by law. It is required by law in Arizona that genitalia be covered up. So you cannot have a client undraped, even with their consent. And not to be rude, but if somebody's there naked and they're not fully draped and you're exchanging money, that starts to sound an awful lot to the board like prostitution. Because that's kind of the way they make that determination. And that may not be your intent, but I'm just saying that's the way it looks. All right, cool. That was chapter 7. Yay! Chapter 7! Any questions? Those are pretty light chapters. But to me, it's exciting to go through them like that. Boom. Okay? So far, we have reviewed that you should be washing your hands, trimming your nails, keeping your clients covered, and the coverings for you and your clients. Boom. And you're probably wondering, why did we spend a whole class on some of these things in the past? But they were important at the time. Okay. We're getting into heavier stuff here, which is massage techniques, mobilization, and stretches. And we will talk a little bit more about this time and maybe go in a little bit deeper on some of this stuff. Any questions so far? No? Okay. All right. So, please continue to be thinking, like this is the definition your book gives for massage, manipulation of soft tissue. What's your definition of massage? And please don't think of it as a set thing. My definition of what massage is has changed over time. And my definition is not more or less right than the books. I'm not waiting for you guys to say exactly what I think massage is. I'm not sure I'm that positive about it, but what is massage? Why does it work, and what do you consider it to be? And by the way, I mean, even this thing, for you, is it just a physical component too? Is it just the manipulation of soft tissue? Does it include creating an emotionally healing environment for your client? Is that important to physical healing for you? And therefore, is that part of massage? Is it increasing blood flow? Is it stretching out soft tissue to allow people to align more? Is it just simply nurturing them? Is it resetting their nervous system by lightly stroking them? Is it breaking up scar tissue with aggressive deep tissue techniques so that adhesions are removed? Is it merely just doing anything to get blood flow going? These are great approaches, all of them, by the way, because the body will kind of heal itself to get the blood flowing in the right direction. Is it all stretching in one form or another? That's what I tend to default to a lot. Is there a mental component to it? I mentioned the emotional component, and I'm kind of dumping this in the same lot, but is there a mental component to massage with your clients? Do I have an obligation to try to help my clients be in the right mental state for body changes? I mean, it's very helpful to somebody when they're walking out to say, "Oh, Mr. Tapscott, do you notice you're standing upright a little bit more since you worked out the stuff in your back?" I swear to you, people will be like, "Oh, you're right. Like, I didn't even notice. Thank you for telling me that." Is that part of your job? Is massage partially mental? I don't know. These are things I really want you guys to answer for yourselves. And I was even going to call on people, but I'm not going to, because I'm not looking for an answer. I'm looking for you to kind of explore as you go through this course. What does massage mean to you? You may actually invent an entirely new approach to massage, or a blending of approaches that nobody else has done before. So have an operating theory. And then change it often as you find new stuff. Cool. What is your definition of massage, and why does it work? I just threw this in here really quick. Who is Per Henrik Ling? Miss Sarno, do you know who Per Henrik Ling is? Miss Sarno?
The guy who started about the massage, or
I'll take it. The guy who started the massage. Yeah, that's actually pretty darn accurate. He is the guy who started Swedish massage. Thank you, Miss Sarno. That's a very good answer. Father of Swedish massage, the guy who started Swedish massage, whatever you want to say, really good. Per Henrik Ling, just a good little piece of history, you know, that you should know. Massage techniques, technologies, and characteristics. So let's talk about techniques. Miss Trotter, what is effleurage? Give me in your own words, by the way. Do you know? It's okay if you don't know, too. I really mean that.
From my understanding, it's a type of massage, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's a stroke. I'm so sorry, it's a stroke, but what kind of stroke?
Yeah, it's like a lighter stroke. I would say, like, if you're just lightly moving stuff around, you're not really trying to get anywhere, do much. You're just kind of lightly moving stuff.
You just insulted Swedish massage, Miss Trotter. Yeah, okay, all right, good. Can I, Mr. Placencia?
Yeah.
What would you say effleurage is? Ms. Trotter's right, but I'm looking for more.
I would say Epithelial is like large, like smooth, broad strokes, long, smooth, broad strokes, typically used for like warming up the body.
Perfect, perfect. Ms. Trotter, by the way, you really were right. I wanted to hear long strokes. Long strokes. Effleurage is what you guys do all the time now. I don't even know how to do stuff without doing effleurage anymore. Well said. Thank you. Thank you. So Ms. Estes, what's Petrissage?
Petrissage would be more like kneading dough.
Bam.
Like
The word kneading is exactly it. Petrissage is like kneading dough. You were actually picking up tissue and things like that. Yeah. Ms. McDowell, what's friction?
That is like rubbing on the skin.
Yeah. You're a better person than I. I would have answered with the same thing. It's friction. Yeah, it's rubbing with the skin with the intention of actually not gliding along, right? It's to actually build up heat and friction and stuff. Yeah, well said. Cool. Ms. Lobitz, what's compression?
It's like pushing or pressing on the muscle, not necessarily gliding around.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost falls into, well, squeezing even is considered compression. But yes, it is pressing, squeezing, all that stuff. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Carodi. Ms. Carodi, do you know what topotement is? It's okay if you don't.
Is the typing like
Yes.
Yeah.
Striking.
Okay,
Rhythmic hitting, striking, yes. Yeah. And by the way, this is topotement, everybody?
Yeah.
Gentle, sweet. That's topotement. Like, not sweet. Like, it's all topotement. This is topotement. Very good. Thank you. Miss Allure, what is skin rolling? Is that like when it owes you money? You're like, I'm going to roll that skin.
I actually did that today. I'm not sure what it is, but it felt so good.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay. There are two types of people in the world, by the way. There are those that do not like skin rolling because it's painful and uncomfortable, and then there's Miss Allure. No, there's a whole group
Mr.
like...
Ibarra just like brought it into the equation today, so yeah, I learned a little bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you are lifting up the superficial fascia when you do skin rolling, which helps unglue that fascia from lower layers and helps increase blood flow. And blood is life. Yeah, my first experience with skin rolling was I had when I was a very new therapist. I was a massage therapist, but I was really new. And I don't remember why, but I did trade with somebody or something. And this therapist said, I'm going to do skin rolling, and she did a 2-hour skin rolling thing to my body, which is a little bit like being pinched for 2 hours, which you think I talk about putting bodies in my car right now. Like, I wanted to kill somebody. But I'll tell you what, I've never felt so amazing in my life afterwards, because it's like somebody gave you a whole new suit of skin because they stretch out all your skin. And it doesn't look stretched out. It breathes better. You can feel the blood flowing through your body. It's amazing. I'm a big believer in skin rolling, by the way, everybody. I think it's an excellent thing to do before you work on an area. I think you can get huge results for it. It is the beginning of myofascial work because you're working the fascia. It's the beginning of myofascial work, and myofascial work you often work down in layers. So this would be the first layer, and then you get down to the fascia and try to do that same kind of thing. It's very effective. The one thing I will caution you is that a lot of clients are not like Miss Allure. A lot of clients, I literally have to be like, okay, we're going to do skin rolling for just 2 minutes on your back because it's really loose and it will really help. And they're like, okay. And like halfway down, they're like, are we done yet? Almost. We're almost done. And then I know I've got to kind of rub it out and let it go. Whereas there are some people that love it. But I find a lot of people after a minute or two, they're done with it. But I think it's an amazing technique. I'm a big believer. Yes, Ms. Routson.
So I understand that it like helps loosen your skin and your fascia. Do you try to skin roll when someone feels like so tight they can't move?
Yeah, I try to skin roll when I feel the skin glued down. So this skin right here does not feel glued down to me on my arm. It's kind of coming up. Oh, but right here, it's hard to explain, but right here, sometimes when you lift it up, it dimples down in the middle, which implies the sides are coming up, but why isn't the middle coming up? Well, that's something I would try to skin roll and just keep up there. I'm trying to unglue my skin, because you're just layers and layers of skin, essentially, or layers and layers of fascia. And yes, I'm trying to unroll that, and really you're not rolling. You're holding the skin up and you're trying to keep that held up as you get more and more skin so that you never let this wave go out. And you keep pulling this skin up. That's the concept. It should be called skin pulling in a way, but yeah, it's to increase blood circulation and you're moving the fascia. Did you have more to say about it than that? Or I feel like I don't know.
No, thank you. I was working with my mom and it gave me a chance to touch someone who has that issue.
Yeah.
So I haven't tried the skin rolling on her yet, but I just was trying to like visualize it more and what it's doing to her. And I think I was more like in class. I wasn't lifting enough. I was just kind of rolling into it.
I actually, when I'm doing it, I actually grab here, roll my thumb underneath so I actually am lifting, get some more, roll, lift, roll more. I'm thinking about, if I could lift the person and just shake them like this by holding on their skin, I would. I really would. I'm picturing like when a mom cat picks up her kitten, she's able to do that because all the fascia comes up with it. It doesn't get stuck. But that's how I'm picturing it. And I will say, when you guys are doing skin rolling, start where you can pick up the skin and roll into the area where you can't. Because you will get to areas where you're like, I can't hold on to the skin anymore. That's the area that's stuck, and you're trying to slowly roll into it and get that area up. It is also effective for some people, even though it is very sensitive, but it's also effective for some people where you can't rub on them, but you want to increase circulation. So maybe they have a problem, and you want to be kind of gentle, so you just slowly start skin rolling along in that area gently. It's another approach, yeah. So try it on your mom. It's very cool. I love that. Awesome. Okay, and by the way, terms like effleurage, petrissage, depotement, these are French terms that are used in Swedish massage, but we use these techniques in every type of massage there is out there. I consider that when I'm running my elbow down your back, that's effleurage with my elbow. It's still a long, slow stroke. Now, we call it deep tissue because I'm now doing the effleurage deeply, but it's still a long, slow stroke. It's still effleurage. There's really only so many things you can do to a body, right? You can poke it, you can pull it, so pressure point it, skin roll it, compress it, squeeze it, knead it, strike it, stroke it. I can't think of anything else you can do. Stretch it. But this slide right here kind of encapsulates the main stuff that you can do to a body. If you discover new stuff, please share it with me too. All right. Good? Good. Okay. I hear you. We talked briefly about duration of massages, and I just want to remind you guys again, massage duration is set by clocks. Do not listen to the clocks. I mean, you have to listen to the clocks if you have another client coming, but my point is there's no reason to be giving hour massages. You should be giving 90-minute massages or 120-minute massages or 113.6-minute massages, something. Don't give hour massages just because clocks are set to an hour. If you can get a client in there for 2 hours, do it. If you can get a client in there for 2 hours 3 times a week, do it. You get a client 2 hours a week, by the way, two hours at a time, 3 times a week. That is a major client, and they do exist. I mean, that's a $20,000 client. That's your life right there. Nerve strokes. These are this thing. They're so sweet, so nice. Don't do them for more than a minute in your 1 hour massage, because people tend to not pay for this. I don't mean they don't like it. I don't mean you shouldn't end the massage with some nice little stroke. That's fine. I'm telling you it's not very therapeutic and that people would rather be rubbed. If you gave them a choice and said, would you rather me be rubbing you or doing this nerve stroke, they're usually like, I'd rather have rubbing. So nerve stroke is great at the end of a move that's very fast, but your 1 hour massage should not have more than a minute of nerve stroking in it. That's a general rule of thumb again. I did have a client, a very interesting person, who used to pay me for 2 hours to do nerve stroking, but it is unusual. It's very unusual. And so be careful, all that fluff, people aren't going to say anything, but they tend to feel a little bit like, okay, like that was nice, but let's get going. Don't overdo it. Okay. So this is more important stuff. We've been kind of, in my opinion, talking about fairly light stuff like washing your hands and stuff. I don't mean it's not important, but I meant you guys are smart. You know to do that. Range of motion comes into play with your massage all the time. Range of motion literally means the range of motion that my joint has. How far will it move? So we use range of motion in massage for all sorts of reasons. One is, in basic Swedish massage, you are taught, and by the way, a lot of Asian massages, I see this too, where you're moving the body around through full range of motion because it's just good for the joints. You're not trying to actually stretch really, but you're trying to get them through a full range of whatever their motion is. That's a very typical thing to do. It's great to do with people that are bedridden. It's great to do with anybody where you think that their arms aren't going all over the place, their legs aren't going all over the place. I mean, think about it. For some people, when's the last time they reached their left arm, if it's their non-dominant arm, above their head? How often do you have to do that? We grab everything with our dominant hand. So this left arm is used to just carry stuff around down here. So putting stuff through a full range of motion is always a good idea for kind of opening up areas and things like that. Now we're going to talk more about other types of range of motion where it comes to stretching and things like that. But the concept range of motion you will hear all the time as a massage therapist. It's never a bad idea to put somebody through, some range of motion on stuff just to keep things ungummed up. That's the first thing. The second thing is we use range of motion to determine if there's problems. Remember, I said, what if I can only raise my arm up this high? Am I having a problem with my glenohumeral joint or my scapulothoracic joint? Anybody. If I can lift my arm up this high and no higher, am I having a problem with my glenohumeral joint or my scapulothoracic joint?
Probably your glenohumeral joint. Because I didn't see you kind of. No, am I wrong?
Yeah, I think you got your logic flipped. So,
okay.
what joint does this?
The glenohumeral.
So that one's working.
Your scapula. I was thinking when you...
My scapulothoracic's not working. My scapula's not moving. Now that doesn't mean that joint is broken, but the muscles around it or the nerves, it could mean so many things. So just to run this by you guys for future thinking, it means my glenohumeral joint's working and theoretically the muscles going to it are working. So rotator cuff muscles and deltoid and things like that. But my scapulothoracic's not kicking in, which means either the scapulothoracic joint is truly damaged, unlikely, but it could be. The muscles going to it are having issues. The nerves going to those muscles are having issues. Those are the three big things you might think of, yes. But that's how we determine that. So we care about range of motion for those type of things and determining like, where is this person not able to move or where does it get painful or things like that. And along those lines, there are two things I care about when I start to discover problems with movement. I care about problems that that I can move you through and problems that you can't move you through. And here's what I mean. Most range of motion is passive range of motion. Does that mean the massage therapist is passive? Never. The massage therapist is always working. It's hard work too. That's why you get paid the big bucks. So I might find that the client says, this is as high up as I can move my arm. But I go grab their arm and I can gently move it all the way up and they say, oh, that's fine when you do it. I just can't do it. That tells me all sorts of wonderful information. It tells me the joints are probably fine, right? because I'm able to passively move them through the whole range of motion. The joints are working. It tells me that when they engage their muscles and their nerves to make that joint work, that they get pain. So it doesn't solve the problem again for me, but it helps. It gives me information. That's why we care about passive and active range of motion. Remember, the therapist is basically always working, but passive is I'm moving the client around and they can do all this stuff, but then they try to do it and they're like, can't do it. Okay, so when you try to activate those muscles in that area, for some reason it hurts you. It's actually kind of a good sign that you probably have some muscular problems and not a joint problem, and we can massage on it. It's kind of useful. Cool? Questions about that? Just want to kind of throw out these concepts of range of motion. We will be coming back to them when we do postural analysis, which we will do. Eventually, we want you to be able to look at a body, make some determinations about how that person is standing and how you might massage them. Don't forget about the word crepitus. So when I'm doing this shoulder action, I actually don't hear it right now, but probably because I'm talking loud. But it would be likely that I would hear some noises. If it doesn't hurt, it's crepitus, and it just means joint noise. And I'm telling you that because you're going to hear clients go, oh, wow, did you hear that? And it'll be like, yeah, does it hurt? No, it's crepitus, don't worry. What's that? It just means joint noise, and it's completely fine. Completely fine. Yes, Ms. Sarno.
Hi, if they cannot cannot in the sometimes the hair in the that and after that the noise and click and they cannot open up.
Yeah.
Or the knee have a lot with the knee.
Where they can't open the knee up?
Yeah, they walk they bend the knee all the time.
Yeah. And so let me use your example, Ms. Sarno, because this does happen. You get people that come to you and they basically say like, I can't move my shoulder this whole way, or I can't open my knee up the whole way, right?
Yeah.
So what do? As massage therapists, like this is just like no nonsense kind of stuff. But if you think about it, we haven't done lower body, so I don't blame anybody if you don't know this. But what are the major muscles in the posterior femoral compartment that allow you to bend, to flex, it's called, even though it's behind you, your knee?
Behind the knee,
Anybody? What?
Petrissage.
Well, that was not bad. You mean popliteal, I think, for behind the knee, but the hamstrings. So one of the things that could be on this person is their hamstrings have become shortened. So let me just give you, this is just a scenario, we will never know actually. But let's say I injure my knee. I bump it into something. We've all done that before, and it hurt so bad that I kept it kind of bent for a while. And it kind of healed, but now the knee's kind of stiff, and the hamstrings have shortened and back, and now I can't stretch my leg out all the way. Well, great time to go to a massage therapist, because you guys would literally range of motion, start to open the leg up, and then you might even start to massage the hamstrings at the same time, trying to get greater and greater function back in this area. And then you come back and rub the knee, all the soft tissue around that. Maybe do skin rolling around the knee. Skin rolling is great around joints. Skin rolling, open it back up, stretch the hamstrings out again, rub them until you start to get this range of motion. So Ms. Sarno, when you have stuff like that where they can't open up all the way, you start to slowly massage it open. Start to stretch it and slowly massage it. And you use the client as your gauge. You watch their face, and if they're okay with it, you do it, and you talk to them next week. How was that? Actually felt pretty good after you're done. Oh, we're going to keep doing that then, because we got progress and it felt good. So we're good. Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Ms. Sarno. Very sweet. So I already said this. Active range of motion and passive range of motion. They are different, right? They are different. Mr. Riedel, what is the difference between active and passive range of motion? Try to put it simply if you can.
Yeah, so Passive range of motion is when the client doesn't do any of, like, the client's muscles aren't the one firing, and you're basically doing the movement for them. And active is when the client does all of the motion.
Not only was that a perfect answer, it was very well explained. Yes, passive client is doing nothing, but there's range of motion going on, and active, the client is actually activating muscles and trying to get themselves through the range of motion. Beautifully said. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And they're both valuable. They're both valuable. We did not spend a lot of time on Pnf stretching. We glossed over it really quickly when we first came to this part because we were running late on time, and it wasn't even really in this section, but we were already talking about stretching, so I want to put in Pnf stretching. Can anybody say what Pnf stretching stands for? It's on this slide, but good luck pronouncing it. Anybody want to take it? Sounds cool when you say it. Yeah, hold on, let's see. Miss Walker, why, please?
Is it proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation?
Yeah, it is, all day long. Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, yeah. And Mr. Tate, were you raising your hand to answer that question too?
I was just going to mention that's what I was doing for Mr. Blyden today.
Oh, it's Pnf stretching?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Super cool, by the way. So, Ms. Walker was exactly right. It is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which means proprioceptors are sensors on the end of your nerves that tell how far you've stretched, how fast you're stretching, how much pressure the stretch is under, how much tension the skin is under. And they're the reasons I don't throw out my arm when I do gestures like this and stuff. My body actually knows how fast I'm going and stops me and does all sorts of stuff. And those are proprioceptors. Proprioceptors are the reason that I know that my head is like this, even though my eyes are closed. And you'd say, well, of course you know. But why would I know? Well, I know because my proprioceptors actually tell me how far I'm bent and the stretch I feel and everything. They give you a sense of three-dimensional reality, really. Neuromuscular means nerves and muscles, and facilitation means we're using all of this to our advantage. And some of the proprioceptors can be used to your advantage. And there are many forms of Pnf stretching. Pnf was the one that got famous. So there's CRAC, actually C-R-A-C, which is a different type of stretching, which is the same exact concept. You don't need to remember that because there's like 30 other acronyms. But let me explain how it works, because this is actually important. Let me get this up on the table and show you guys what we're talking about here. All right. Actually, sorry, gotta turn this way. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. All right. Are we there? Let's turn this way. Hold on. All right. Let's see if we can see our client on the table. There we go. Okay. So, this is our skeleton. You can't see, but our skeleton is laying supine directly on its spine. It doesn't have any choice. And let's say that I wanted to stretch this skeleton's hamstrings out. Now, where are the hamstrings found? What part of the body are they found? Anybody? On the face, neck, arms, toes?
Posterior.
Thank you! Posterior femoral compartment. Right. So in a way, and we are horribly oversimplifying again, but in a way, they're found back here. Right. So, if I lift the leg up, that is stretching. That's just good old-fashioned stretching. This muscle will get tighter and we will stretch it. Okay? And that is reasonably effective. It's not super effective, by the way, but it's reasonably effective. Well, in Pnf stretching, we do some other tricks, and I'm about to even add to those tricks because I like to do the CRAC more, but they're the same thing. I'll explain here in a second. So one of the things that this skeleton has, and you have, and everybody has, is a little warning signal when this hamstring gets tight. This is true for every muscle in your body. When it gets tight, it actually stops itself from stretching because it doesn't want to tear. So it feels a certain amount of tension. And let's say its tension is set at 100 pounds of tension. It feels 100 pounds of tension pulling here and it goes, that's it. That's as much as we can take. We need to stop. And it stops stretching for you. It's a safety precaution and it's a good one. Well, if I asked Mr. Skeleton here to push against my arm, that causes Mr. Skeleton to do that with his hamstring. He's actually going to push against me. So he is assisting by resisting. Now, what does that do? Well, there's already 100 pounds of pressure on here. Now, he contracts his hamstring to try to fight me. There's now 150 pounds of pressure on that hamstring. And guess what happens? His brain goes, oh, I guess I can handle more than 100 pounds of pressure on my hamstring. And so I say, let go, and all of a sudden I can push the hamstring up higher. Because we're at 100 pounds of pressure here, he tried to fight against me and I put 150. When he let go, he all of a sudden realized he could go to 150 so I can push up higher. That's the whole basic premise of Pnf stretching. It's to shut down what they call the muscle spindles and Golgi tendon complex. These proprioceptors that stop you from stretching too far. But I like to add in a little component on top of that. So what I like to do is stretch somebody. Stretch, 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 right? Then I have them press against me, and I say press against me with about 10% of your body, about 10% of your strength, because you do not want them to press with all their strength. If you have really macho guys on your table, you got to tell them 5%. Anyway, and you press against me, and I go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax, and I push up further. That's how Pnf stretching works. But there's another trick you can employ along with this. Does anybody remember me talking about reciprocal inhibition? No, that's okay. This is all fairly new, by the way. This is kind of the fun part of the day. So, my brain is very smart, and my body is very smart, and it's got some default things built into it. And one of the defaults it has built into it is that when my biceps fire, they actually send a signal to my triceps to say, hey, let go. Please don't get in our way. Now, you can override that. I'm overriding it right now. That's how I flex. I say, no, don't let go. You tighten and you tighten. So I can override that, but the signal is telling it, hey, don't help us. We're firing. And then when the triceps fire, they send a signal to biceps, hey, you let go. This is very helpful, not so much when you're making displays like this for your classroom, but when you're walking or running. When your hamstrings kick in, your quads let go. When your quads kick in, your hamstrings let go. So the front and back of your legs don't fight each other. That's reciprocal inhibition. How do we put it to good use? We go back to our Pnf stretching. Right now I'm doing a regular stretch. Regular stretch, hold for 20 seconds. That's a very common minimal amount. Then I have them push against me. Push, push, push. They're increasing tension in this muscle. I say, let go. There's now less tension there. They can go up higher. And I say, help me lift your leg. Now, I want them to help me lift their leg because they're going to kick their quads in to do that. Their rectus femoris actually runs across their hip and helps them lift their hip. And so when they start to help me lift their leg, it sends a signal to the hamstring to release. This is one of the reasons that yoga is so effective at increasing flexibility in people. Because yoga actually puts loads on muscles and uses reciprocal inhibition. Without trying to, it just does. But it's very effective. So, I'm going to go back over this because you can actually use this and it's very powerful when you're having problems with stuff that you'd like to make longer. Which is usually the case in most structural stuff. So, regular stretch, I put all three together. Regular stretch. That's as far as I can go. Okay. Now, push against me at 10% of your strength. Push. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now release and help me lift your leg. Now relax. Now I hold the new stretch for 20 seconds. Now push against me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now help me lift again. Now relax. 20 seconds holding it. And I'll do that 3 times. I don't do it much more than that because the person fatigues and this muscle gets too tired to keep fighting against me. But you will see some amazing increases in flexibility using this technique. And it's just kind of like a more exaggerated Pnf stretching. It really is the CRAC stretching in a way. But it's very effective. And by the way, I'll get you 1 second, Mr. Blygen. One last little thing, since I think all massage is stretching. While you're up here, this won't catch in the camera very well, but I'll often have your leg on my shoulder here so that I can do what? Massage your hamstring. Now I've got you stretching, pressing against me, helping me lift, stretching more, and I'm massaging this thing. We're going to open your hamstring up. Very powerful. That's an entire massage approach. I mean, you could use that entirely. Mr. Blygen, yes?
Is that a not long term, but how long does that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. How long does it last? I don't have an exact answer. I can tell you a couple things. Some of it lasts quite long because sometimes what happens is people's proprioceptors get set short. So take somebody like me. The last time I bent over and touched my toes, I can't even remember. And more importantly, I spend a lot of time at a desk. And then when I'm not at the desk, I'm sitting up talking to you guys. There's not a lot of flexibility involved in those things. And so my body is actually set short. My hamstrings actually haven't been stressed by me bending way over in a long time. So they freak out the minute I start to bend over because they're not used to it. This type of stretching resets that right away and it lasts a fairly long time. Don't get me wrong, I can put it back in there with my lifestyle, but if I were to keep kind of using that skill, sir, it would stay there because what I've done is just reset just a factory reset. And that lasts fairly long. At some point during that session, you're going to reach kind of their maximum flexibility. You can't keep tricking them into further and further, if that makes sense too. And then those gains are longer attained and last longer too, though, actually just stretching something, but they take longer to attain. But anyway, the resetting can be, fairly permanent. The reason I'm hesitating to say permanent is I can go back there and mess it up again. I can go back and sit at the desk for 8 hours for a solid week again, and it's going to kind of get set short again. But if I were to keep mobile, it's kind of permanent. You know what I mean? It really does reset the situation. Does that help? Okay. Yeah, sorry. Those are not easy questions to answer. Yeah. If you do this to an athlete, let's say who has to jump for a living, like a volleyball player, and not the hamstrings, but their iliopsoas, which is hard to imagine, but my iliopsoas is inside my body in here. And if it's tight, when I go to jump, I can't straighten up all the way. And so I'm not a very effective jumper like this. I need to open up to jump. So you can actually put a couple inches on somebody's jump if you do this properly. Now, I can't do it every day. I can't keep giving you 2 inches every day, but I meant they'll get instant feedback. So if you're an athlete and all of a sudden you can run faster or jump higher or you are seemingly stronger in an hour session, that's a big selling point. So again, this is kind of that thing I told you about if my Honda Fit's towing a trailer and I remove the trailer, all of a sudden it seems like my car's faster. It's not faster, but we remove the thing holding it back. If the hamstrings are holding somebody back, or if their quads are holding them back, or their iliopsoas is holding them back, you can get fairly instant improvement with this. And that's a big selling point. And with athletes, it needs to be that type of selling point. And I'm not trying to generalize all athletes, but my point is if I'm an athlete runner, most runners, for example, want to go run. They want to run. They don't want to get their massage. They love massage, don't get me wrong, but they want to run. If they're coming to you, they want improvement on their running, right? So you need to talk to them in terms of how to improve their running. If they come to you and they're just stressed out, then that's they're looking to reduce stress. But you've got to learn to talk to your client and figure out what it is they want. And I'm trying to give you selling points on massage that are legit. And one of the selling points for athletes that I always tell athletes when they're like, why should I get massage? I go, increased recovery time. That's the number one. If you can recover faster, that means you grow faster. That means you get better faster than everybody else. That's just a fact. Right? I can make you recover faster because I will increase your blood flow when you are not working, and you will recover faster, which means you will improve faster. Boom. Number 2, reduced possibility of injury. People that get regular massage are more supple. One of my favorite words. More supple than other people, which is kind of means elastic. They are more rubbery. They are more malleable. And people that are rubbery don't tear, they stretch. When you're stretching before an athletic event, believe it or not, you're not stretching to get more flexible. You're stretching to be more elastic. You want bounce. Bounce keeps us from breaking, right? Does that make sense? Ms. Lobitz, does that make sense? I just felt like you had a very, like, you know, when the dog goes, not that you're a dog, but anyway, cool. So yeah, so it builds elasticity in your body. By the way, their exercises does too, but massage helps make you more elastic. That's awesome too. Yep. And 3 is there can be true instant performance enhancement by getting the other muscles out of your way of your performance. So those are 3 good selling points of why somebody might want to spend $100 to come see me. And you need to have good reasons, right? Because they could just spend the $100 on another pair of running shoes. All right, cool. Okay, that is a perfect place to stop. So let me stop sharing that. Stretching though, and play with stretching and massaging stuff while it's in a stretch. I'll give you a really common one. I saw somebody, and I'm sorry I forgot who, but I really liked it. I even commented on the time in lab, and they had the person supine on their spine, and they had their arm up like this and bent back to rub their tricep. Well, this is really smart because bending the arm here puts the tricep in a stretch, and lifting it up over the head puts it in a stretch because the long head goes across the scapula. So this is my tricep fully stretched, and they were here, and then they were massaging on top of that. That's the kind of thinking we want to see. You know who you were, even though I've forgotten. All right. Okay. Chapter 9. We talked about contraindications. What's a contraindication, Miss McDowell? What does it mean?
That's when you should not rub somebody they're on fire.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it could be all sorts of stuff, but it just means it's against contra. The massage is there's an against an indication of massage. Do not massage or don't massage that area or some kind of don't. Absolutely. And they could be on fire. Well said, Ms. McDowell. Not as common, but it does happen. Sure. Okay. We already went over all this. Massage is super safe. I can't emphasize it enough. It's super safe if things are clean and you go slow. And I'm sorry, I know that I've already said this 100 times, but I'm saying it for your benefit. Every time I see a massage injury, it went fast. It really did. Like somebody was turning somebody's neck, that's fine. You can turn it way over. But they got to the end and for some reason they decided to speed up here. Like that's just not smart. Don't do that. Right? Go slow. You can go slow anywhere you want in the body and they will yell before you hurt them. This is me poking myself hard into my eye. But it will be okay because I went slow. Okay? Remember, karate is fast, massage is slow, same moves. Cool. And so I tell you that, by the way, because you can try new moves too. We don't have to be around. You can be like, well, I thought about pulling on their earlobe and then their nose, but I did it slow. You can do that. It's safe. Totally do that. Right? You can pull hair in massage. It actually feels good, right? You guys ever do this on the scalp? You get a lot of hair up in your hand and you use it to lift up the superficial fascia. You don't do this? You guys are amateurs. All right. Anyway, you can, though. Totally legitimate. Just do it slow. We're not going to get into disease too much, all this stuff. Remember, acute disease does not mean adorable disease. It tends to mean quick onset disease. Like you break your arm, that's an acute injury. It happened fast and it will heal fairly fast. I know it doesn't feel like it when you've actually broken your arm, but it will. Chronic diseases tend to last a long time. Chronic problems tend to last a long time. You'll often hear people say, I have a chronic back problem, right? It keeps reoccurring. It's been around for 10 years. That's chronic. Chronic is ongoing. Okay. This stuff is important, but you know it. Oh, hold on. Oh, gotta cut back on smoking. Okay. Local and systemic disease. We really care about these terms, right? When you see local problems, usually what do? Do you not do the massage? When there's a local problem, what do?
Avoid the area?
Yes. Mr. Placencia still wants to buy his cool shirts and stuff and mics for his computer. And so he still does the massage, he just avoids the local problem. And you can get away with almost anything, right? It can even be a rash and stuff as long as you work around it. That's a local problem. Systemic problems are throughout the whole body, and those might require you to not do the massage. It depends on how bad they are. If it's a cold is a systemic problem, but it's really mild. No problem. If it's a fever, that's a more serious systemic problem. You probably wouldn't do the massage. But that's the difference between local and systemic, right? And remember, by the way, we're always looking for how to do the massage. I can count the clients I've turned away in the last 26 years on one hand. Because usually I'm like, oh, Mr. Placencia, yes, I see you've, broken both your arms and your legs, but we can still do reflexology. Because I don't want him to go away. Oh, Miss McDowell, I can see you're on fire, but after we throw this blanket over there, you haven't burned your hands. So let's do some hand massage. We can still do something. Yeah. We learned about autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases are usually when your immune system attacks your own body. Autoimmune diseases are diseases where your immune system attacks your own body. Sounds like a crazy thing, except we do it to ourselves emotionally all the time. We do. So I don't think it's so crazy our bodies do it too. Yes, Miss Sarno.
Yeah, it's what feeling like. I don't understand what the symptom.
The symptom of autoimmune. It's I can't tell you because it depends on what autoimmune disease you have. But like some arthritis, which is joint problems, are actually an autoimmune disease where your body is attacking its own joints. That's an autoimmune disease. Your body is actually attacking itself. It doesn't know. It's confused. And it attacks parts of your body thinking that they're foreign invaders, and it attacks them. So some arthritis is a good example of this. Anybody here had preeclampsia when you were pregnant? No? Preeclampsia is when your body actually attacks the placenta thinking it's a foreign agent. But anyway, that's an autoimmune response. So it's when it can have all sorts of symptoms, Ms. Sarno. It just depends. You don't have to figure it out. I'm just letting you know what the word means. Autoimmune disease is when your body attacks itself. It's fighting a fight with itself. Did that help? You're just saying that. You're just being nice. Thank you, though.
Well, thank you. I think that helped because I heard someone they get disease like from the cell inside the body not working right.
Yeah, it's their cells inside their body kind of attacking them. And they can get swelling, pain, discomfort, tired, all those things.
And like a body, like they pain in some joint, in some inside the body, inside organ or something they cannot move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Usually it's joint pain.
Yeah.
But not always. We talked about cancer, which is really just abnormally fast cell growth, which just means it's cells in your body doing too good a job. They're growing out of control. I only brought this back up not to remind you guys about cancer, but to remind you guys about metastasizing. Metastasize is when cancer essentially breaks off from one area, floats to another, and grows there too. It is not a good thing. But a long time ago, they used to worry that massage would increase metastasization. I'm not even sure that's a word. And all evidence seems to suggest that's not true. Massage is basically not dangerous during cancer at all, assuming they're doing okay with whatever their cancer treatment is. But it's not the cancer we're worried about. It's, is their chemo going okay? Are they up for getting a massage? But if they seem like they're like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, give them a massage. They're fine. They're fine. You guys will deal with a lot of degenerative diseases. Those are when tissue breaks down, usually with age, sometimes overuse. And a lot of these degenerative diseases, you'll hear people say, I've got bone on bone. My mom just found this out, by the way. Just now told me she's going in to get hip replacement surgery because her hip is bone on bone inside her hip socket. It's degenerated. The capsule broke down. The hyaline cartilage that was over the end of her bone and the inside of her hip is broken down, so it really is bone over bone. That's a degenerative disease. And then there are genetic diseases, which are things you are born with. Some people call them congenital diseases, things you are born with. They're usually in your genetic material. None of this is super, by the way, super important massage therapists. They're just definitions I want to make sure that we kind of heard again. We talked about infectious diseases and pathogens. These are things that carry disease. What is good at carrying disease? We talked a little bit about bacteria and fungi and viruses and protozoa and pathogenic animals. Little creepy crawly things. All of that, though, is greatly aided by you just washing your hands and washing your sheets. We won't go into congenital stuff or pathogens or bacteria, virus, or any of this stuff. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. We already talked about hand washing. I think I've talked about it 72 times today. Just can't emphasize it enough. And by the way, not just when you guys work on somebody too, like I've been at places where I watch them take out the trash and then they come back in and go greet their client. And their client sees that too, right? Like, wash your hands. And washing hands is more important than using hand sanitizer. Oils actually stop hand sanitizer pretty well. And other pollutants on your hands stop hand sanitizer. So, actually, Mr. Blygen might know this being in the restaurant business kind of thing. But like, there's two processes to cleaning. One is getting the debris off, and then the second is a deep sanitizing. Anyway, soap is very good at both, actually. But trying to sanitize something when there's debris on top of it, really the stuff is still hiding underneath there. So I'm not against hand sanitizer, but I'm telling you, it is no replacement for washing your hands. If I had to pick, you always pick washing your hands. Sanitizer is a backup thing. We already talked about bleach in your sheets and all that stuff. Remember, this one's important. Absolute contraindications and local contraindications. Mr. Placencia, please tell us the difference between absolute contraindications and local contraindications.
With a local contraindication, you can still massage. You would just avoid the affected area. And then with an absolute contraindication, you would absolutely not massage them.
Wow. Yeah, that was good. You should teach the class, sir. You really should. You would absolutely not do that. By the way, for some reason, a lot of people call absolute contraindications general contraindications. I do not like this term because I like the absolute, don't do it. But general means it's everywhere, don't do it. So absolute and general contraindications are the same thing. Absolute and general, local over here. Everybody in the world probably has a local contraindication somewhere. You know what I mean? Okay. And we avoid endangerment sites, but we are not paranoid about endangerment sites. Axillary region is an endangerment site, but I'm not terrified to get around it. I'll go to town on the pecs, I'll go to town on the lats, we'll get all this stuff in here. I just don't go driving an elbow directly in here. Endangerment site, I'm not scared of the eyes, but I don't go driving in there, right? Throat, endangerment site, but I'm not scared to touch it. So I just don't want you paranoid about endangerment sites, but What we're worried about is we don't want somebody to naively come in there and start digging. I don't think a client would let you, by the way, but I think they would be upset with you. Some of my rules of thumb. I want to remind you again because you guys are going to start getting more explorative, I hope. I know you will. So, remember your number one rules: do no harm. You will be in these weird gray areas where you're like, I'm not sure if I should go deeper or not. TAPSCOT would have me go deeper, but so-and-so wouldn't, and I don't know what. Wait till next time. Wait till next time. I mean, I've told clients before, I love going deep, man, but let's just see how your tissue handles this. Okay. Next week, find out how they're feeling before you do more. That's also testing the carpet, right? But just be careful, right? You can always do more. It's like cutting hair. You can always cut more next time. I use if the client can walk around the block thing, that they're fine to get a massage. That served me very well. If you're ever uncertain, get a doctor's release, and don't be afraid to call 911. If somebody just starts acting weird, you see that kind of stuff, they're not talking, they're whatever, 911 it. Right? These are very rare scenarios, by the way, because most people that come to see you are coming to you because they're like, I got aches and pains, I can't wait to see my massage therapist. So, but just when in doubt. Don't forget that hypoglycemia, what does hypo mean? Low. Hypoglycemia is low blood sugar. People with hypoglycemia tend to... What? Just... What? They tend to act a little drunk. They tend to act a little bit weird. Don't assume they're drunk right away. They really could have hypoglycemia. Stroke. With stroke, slurred speech is one thing, but you're looking for facial drooping. You're looking for something that does not hold its position. I can't do it right now because my brain subconsciously gives texture, but you will actually see a droop, like a noticeable droop, things like that. Stroke is another 911. Stroke is a time-sensitive issue. Again, unlikely that you will ever see this, but don't be afraid. You don't have to identify what a problem is. That's the beauty of this country, actually. You call 911, somebody else does that. And heart attack. Heart attacks you usually notice because people complain of chest pain, but really trouble breathing. Anytime I hear trouble breathing, I'm starting to already think 911. I don't care if it's a lifesaver you're choking on. I don't care what's going on. I'm already starting to think, ooh, oxygen is a big issue. Okay, and seizures. We talked about seizures too, which are not the end of the world. They are super duper common actually. And for somebody to have one seizure, you just sit with them through that seizure. You just sit with them through that seizure and try to keep them from hurting themselves. You stay calm, all that kind of stuff, and you are fine. You do call 911 if the seizure doesn't end after 5 minutes. And no, you don't have to time it. You can literally just be sitting there going, this seems like a while. Call 911. Right? But lots of people, by the way, seize for 30 seconds. That's not uncommon. It may happen in this classroom with somebody. I'm not thinking of anybody in particular. I've had it happen in class before. And it's not a big deal. It's really not. Okay. You've now blasted through something like 6 chapters of massage therapy. We should have done this day 1. You'd be done already. Yeah. Any questions so far? I know it's hard hanging on. Trust me, you are so close. Just hang in there with me. Have a swig of coffee. All right. Then we talked about the human body and cells and a little bit about medical terminology and about body positioning and directions and yada, yada, yada. Woo! This one was kind of big. You should know that anatomy is the study of parts of the body. Physiology is the study of what those parts do. Anatomy is understanding there's a carburetor there. Physiology is understanding that the carburetor provides oxygen to the engine to burn the gas more efficiently. Anatomy is understanding that this is an arm. Physiology is understanding what's inside this arm and what really makes it an arm, right? And then we also learned about homeostasis. You are all constantly trying to achieve a state of homeostasis, right? You get tired at night and go to sleep because you're trying to achieve a state of homeostasis. Your body's always trying to rest and repair and get back to normal and get things right. In your own lives, you're trying to get to a state of homeostasis, right? Where you've got some time to relax and a job you enjoy and all this stuff. We're trying to get to homeostasis. Bodies sometimes do funky things trying to get back to homeostasis. I've got really bad posture here. My body tries to get really tight here to try to fix it. It's trying to get me back to homeostasis, but now I'm in conflict with myself. A lot of your clients are coming to you because they're out of homeostasis, but they're trying to get back in. Then we talked about general levels of organization. I hate this because it's important to know, but it always sounds more complicated than it is. And we just wanted you to kind of understand that atoms, little atoms like oxygen, hydrogen, come together, make molecules like water. Boom. Molecules are chemicals. Chemicals can be put together to make tiny little organelles, which are organs for cells. Put a whole bunch of cells together that are similar cells, you've got a tissue. If I put a whole bunch of skin cells together, I've got skin tissue. You put a whole bunch of similar tissue together, you've got organs for my body. You put a whole bunch of organs together, you've got an organ system. You put a whole bunch of organ systems together, you've got an organism. That's me, that's you. So, if I take some hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, I'm sure a few other things in there that I've forgotten about, I can make little chemical things that eventually make organelles, and I can eventually use those to make muscle cells, cardiac muscle cells. Very specialized little muscle cells. They actually beat on their own. It's kind of cool. Cardiac muscle cells. Well, I put a whole bunch of those together, I've got cardiac tissue. I put a whole bunch of cardiac tissue together, I've got this 4-chambered pump that's an organ for my body called my heart. I mix that together with arteries and veins, and I've got a system called my cardiovascular system. I mix that with my pulmonary system and my skeletal system, my muscular system, my integumentary system, my endocrine system, my nervous system, and I have an organism. Cool. Just like this picture says. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Yes, it is. Okay. We also talked about stuff inside the cells. We didn't go into gory detail, thank goodness. There were some things that I wanted you to kind of remember. I said the mitochondria. What's the mitochondria? Somebody tell me mitochondria. What is it? Miss McDowell, you're going to tell me something, I can tell.
It's the powerhouse of the cell. It makes the energy.
Yeah! Makes the ATP, the adenosine triphosphate, which your whole body uses, including your cell uses, to facilitate reactions that require energy. And the mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell. Yeah. And so how well it functions actually has a lot to do with how well you process energy in your cell. And we said that a cell, basically one of the neat things to remember about a cell is it's the most basic living unit of life. We define that because it is able to reproduce and grow into all the things that you can do. And it has all the things you have. Now, that's a gross oversimplification, but the point is you have skin, the cell's got a membrane. You've got blood, the cell's got cytoplasm. You've got a brain, the cell's got a nucleus, right? So you really actually have a lot of similarities between you and a cell. It really is a little living organism. Cool. Boom. You don't look much like a cell, except for the morning when I get up. I look a lot like this in the morning. Yeah, I do. We talked about cellular processes, how stuff gets in and out of cells, and there's diffusion and osmosis and filtration. We don't have to get back into those, but some of those work with pressure variances between one side or the other, or some of those are because one side has a lot of something, their side doesn't have a lot of something, and things tend to like to reach equilibrium. Just like when you open the front door of your house tries to reach equilibrium with the weather outside. That's why somebody's always saying, shut that door, because they don't want your house to reach equilibrium with the stuff outside. Then we talked about this, and this is important. This is important. Miss Suriel, just because I haven't seen your beautiful face, what are the 3 types of tissue? And it's on my slide. I'm not just asking you something out of the blue.
The 3 types of tissue?
I said that, but I didn't mean that. I don't know why I said that. 4 types of tissue. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Bad tap, Scott. 4 types of tissue.
Epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Don't laugh. That's true. Which one is the most abundant, the most commonly found in our body?
The connective?
Yeah, the connective. Your fascia and all sorts of stuff. Remember we talked about fascia? It covers the muscles. It covers the bones. It is the blood. It's this connective stuff everywhere that we take so for granted because we almost miss the forest for the trees. We'll see that later. All right, so epithelial tissue is the stuff that lines the insides and outsides of bodies. Your skin is epithelial tissue, right? Connective tissue is all the tendons, ligaments, fascia, all sorts of stuff. Muscles can only do one thing. What's that, everybody? Muscles can only do one thing.
Pull.
Pull. I actually like that answer. Pull. Yeah, contract, pull, shorten. Boom. And your nervous system is all the wires tying all this stuff together, telling it what to do and telling you what happened. So right now, my nervous system is the way I'm able to see you guys, really. Yes, it's going through my eyes, but that's hooked to wires that are literally going back to my head and telling me that you are still there, riveted by this discussion. I might have misinterpreted the last part. Okay, so 4 types of tissue. Good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mr. Tate, what are the 4 types of tissue?
Epithelia.
Yeah.
Epithelia. Sorry, I need to enunciate my
No, don't be sorry. Epithelial.
Connective, muscle, and nerves. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And Miss Munoz, what are the 4 types of connective tissue? Miss Munoz? Don't leave me now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Epithelial, connective, muscle, nervous.
Cool. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. All right, everybody. Connective tissue. It's everywhere. We also talked briefly about interstitial fluid. Miss Hawks, this isn't fair because I didn't explain it, but it's a little bit on the slide. Can you tell us what interstitial fluid is?
It's like the fluid in between the tissues.
That was perfect, thank you. Interstitial fluid is the fluid between your cells. And the reason I would choose to bring this up on a review is it's actually very important. Because remember, your cells are in a flower bed. I know it's not a flower bed, but your cells get watered by their interstitial fluid. So, yes, you have a circulatory system that brings blood to your cells, but it doesn't bring blood to your cells, it brings blood to your interstitial fluid. Your cells are like floating. Your entire body has got cells kind of floating in interstitial fluid that's kind of like it's blood and plasma. And the cells pick up through osmosis, through diffusion, through the other stuff we were talking about, pick up nutrients. And then they spit out, they pee out, they poop out stuff they don't like, and your circulatory system picks that back up out of the interstitial fluid. But it's a very big deal because when you guys are doing skin rolling, you are increasing space and ability for stuff to get into the interstitial fluid. When you squeeze something like this, you're squeezing fluid in and out of the interstitial fluid. So you're cleaning up the water and the nutrients there that your cells are going to use to get their stuff from. You're cleaning the house and you're putting new stuff in. So we, in many ways, I don't like saying this to clients, but in many ways, we are interstitial fluid cleaner producer people. You can see why I don't say this to clients, right? But my point is you really are cleaning up their interstitial fluid and providing more interstitial fluid for them. That when I say we're improving circulation, we're actually in some ways improving interstitial fluid flow. It just doesn't sound very good, right? But your cells don't have a tube right from your cardiovascular system to them. They're in a bed where they're getting watered, and very much like a plant, they pick up what they need from the soil. But the soil is your tissue. Interstitial fluid, okay? And when things get gummed up, stuff doesn't flow well through the interstitial fluid, and it does get sticky. And then blood doesn't get in there. And this is a catch-22, right? If your interstitial fluid gets kind of gummed up and your fascia is sticking down on it, and then new fresh blood can't get in there to wash it out, and it gets stickier and stickier, and it kind of gets all, ugh. And you lift it up and get fresh stuff in there and clean it out. That's really a lot of what massage is in some ways. Very cool. Thank you. We talked about inflammation. We talked about inflammation being a good thing. Inflammation is a good thing. It may not be enjoyable for the person getting the inflammation, but it is meant to do several things. Anybody remember what it's meant to do? Anybody? Like when I hit my elbow and it swells up, why is that a good thing? Thank you, Ms. Estes.
It's protecting.
Yes, it is splinting and protecting the area. You know how your elbow feels stiff after that happens? It's supposed to. Your body's like, you're an idiot. You need to stop moving this elbow. So it is protective and splinting. Yes. Anything else, by the way?
Probably.
Okay. Well said. I love that. Probably, but you want to pass the baton to somebody else. I understand. She's like, I know all this, right? It also, by the way, is pumping all this blood into the interstitial fluid. The area is swollen with your juices. I know it sounds weird, but your stuff, right? Your good stuff. It's swollen with that stuff, and that means it's easier for your body to get debris out of there, stuff you've injured out of there, and get nutrients in there. So the swelling is literally like, let's wash this flower bed. Let's take a garden hose to it. Let's really flush it out. That's literally what swelling is for. So the heat is actually probably caused by, yes, inflammation, but also good inflammation of just lots of chemical reactions happening there and such. But anyway, the point is, yeah, protect it, splint it, get more nutrients to it, wash more debris out of it. Swelling's good. Inflammation's good. Okay, all right. Then we talked about body positionings. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on, everybody. Hold on to your hat. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I want you to be able to see me better. I don't know if that helps or what. Because I'm going to ask you some questions about how I'm standing. All right, let's see here. Okay. Oh, this will work. Cool. Let me just put this down a little bit more. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. Mr. Blygen. Sir. Mr. Blygen there? Don't leave me hanging, buddy. Mr. Blygen. Coming back for you, double. Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown. Mr. Blygen. Mr. Brown. Paging Mr. Brown.
I'm here.
Oh, well, oh, wait, Mr. Blygen, you're there now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, sir, what position am I standing in?
You are standing in. Wait, my computer. Okay. You are standing in. Wait a minute. This is anatomical position.
Yeah, I'm in anatomical position. Palms are out, facing you like this, feet forward, anatomical position. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, are you there?
Not bad. Were you calling on me for a long time?
Yeah, I was calling you for a while.
My bad.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I was sad. It's all right. We got through it. Mr. Brown. Oh, Mr. Mr. Brown. Going once, Mr. Brown, twice. Okay. All right. Miss Estes, we're back to you. Miss Estes?
Yes.
Whoa, what was that? What's the attitude? Whoa.
Yes. That was attitude? I didn't mean it for it.
Oh, now I got attitude on top of the attitude? Oh, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Miss Estes, what am I doing right now?
You are flexing the elbow.
Flexion of the elbow. Thank you very much. Perfectly said. Yep.
Here.
Miss Hawks. Miss Hawks? I just saw you a second ago. Miss Hawks. I just saw you a second ago. Okay. Miss Carodi. Miss Carodi, where are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good. I was like, did everybody leave? Miss Carodi, what am I doing right now?
Extension.
Yeah! Extension of the elbow. Good job. Thank you, ma'am. That was worth the wait. I love it. Okay. Miss Lobitz.
Yes.
Miss Lobitz, what am I doing now?
Abducting? No.
Yes. What am I abducting?
Your arm?
Yes. So we might say abduction of the glenohumeral joint because
Okay.
that's where it's happening, kind of thing. But still, abducting was right. That was really good. Good job. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. Miss Monez. Miss Monez.
ABD ducting.
I haven't done anything yet. Hold on. What am I doing now? What am I doing now?
Adduction
Thank you. Adduction of what?
of the glenohumeral joint.
Yeah, we'll take that. Good. Abduction of the glenohumeral joint or shoulder or something. Good. I love it. Thank you. Miss McDowell.
Yes.
Miss McDowell.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be an action at my glenohumeral joint just because I think it'll be hard to see.
Okay.
So this is an action at my glenohumeral joint. What am I doing at my glenohumeral joint?
Are you pronating or are you supinating?
Well, that's why I was really clear about glenohumeral joint. I didn't mean that scoldingly either. I just meant this is pronating, supinating. It happens at my forearm.
Oh, you mean
And I
the
admit
rotation.
we saw, yes. So
Okay.
I'm like, what's going on? If this isn't happening down here, if it's actually because my whole arm is turning, what did I just do?
That's a medial rotation.
It is a medial rotation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. All right, Miss Munoz.
Yes.
Miss Munoz, at my glenohumeral joint, at my shoulder joint, what am I doing now?
Lateral rotation.
Yes. Good job, ma'am. Lateral rotation. Good. Mr. Placencia.
Yes.
Mr. Placencia, what am I doing now?
No funny dance move.
Yeah, it is a funny dance move. One of my best.
You are rotating your neck.
No, I am not rotating my neck. This would be rotating my neck, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing something through multiple planes. It's crazy. Anybody want to give him a help?
Circumduction.
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 Yeah. Usually you see it with the neck, and this would be considered circumduction because I'm flexing extending, but also abducting and adducting. I'm doing all these different things at once. Circumduction. It's a weird one. Sorry, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Typing.
Mr. Riedel.
Yeah.
Mr. Riedel, what am I doing right here?
Isn't that like pincer or like pincing? Or...
I love that. You're actually talking about a massage move called pincing. And it's true, you have to do this to pinch. But I'm moving my thumb and pinky across my hand. So, starts with an O. Anybody want to bail them out? It's totally okay, guys. No, these are random, obscure things. Anybody? Anybody got this?
Opposition.
Opposition. Yeah, they're moving in opposition to each other. This is an opposition. Yeah. All right, cool. Don't worry, sir. That's good. Good. Opposition. Miss Sarno. Hi, Miss Sarno. All right, Miss Sarno. You ready? Miss Sarno.
Yes.
What am I doing now?
Levator scapula.
Yeah, well, you said levator scapula, which is one of the muscles that would do that, and the trapezius too.
Levator shoulder.
Yeah, I'm elevating. You said the harder thing, actually. Yeah, elevating. My scapula, yes. I'm elevating my scapula. Good job. That was great. Cool. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. Let's see. Oh, Miss Allure. Dear Miss Allure.
Yes.
Miss Allure, what am I doing here? Oh, here.
Extending.
Is it happening in front of me?
Oh, flexing?
Flexing, yes!
Yeah.
Good, cool. Flexing. Flexions usually happen in front except for, boop. That's the one flexion that happens behind, flexion of the knee. Good. By the way, guys, it's totally fine. This is why we do this stuff, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have to go to school. So you're keeping me in a job, so thank you. Miss Suriel.
Yes.
Miss Suriel, wait for it, not yet. Miss Suriel, what am I doing now?
You're doing an extension.
Yeah, probably an extension of my hip, by the way, everybody. This would be more an extension of my spine, but we're getting really nitpicky there. But anyway, yes, you were 100% right. Extension. Thank you. Mr. Tate.
Yes, here.
Mr. Tate, what am I doing here?
Lateral flexion.
Yeah! Nailed it! Thank you. That one's trickier. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Good job. Miss Trotter.
Yes.
What am I doing here? Get ready. Wait for it.
Oh gosh.
I think you know it. Just that I haven't normally presented it this way.
I know you're opening up your mouth.
Right. So when I open my mouth, does my head go up or does my jaw go down?
Your jaw goes down.
What do we call it when something goes down?
Depression.
Yes. Excellent.
So
Thank you very much. It's depression on my jaw.
So what do you?
I guess you could get really technical and say it's depression of your temporal mandibular joint, Mr. Tapscott. Now leave me alone. That's what I would say. Good job. You nailed it. Thank you. And I also love what you did there. You applied a concept to another thing. That's using language. That's not just memorizing. Good job. Yeah. Really nice. Miss Routson.
Yes, sir.
Miss Routson, what do you mean, sir? What am I doing right now? What? What? When I pull back my shoulders like that, that's what I'm talking about. And there's two terms for it.
Abduction of your scapula?
Because my scapula gets closer to my midline. Yes, you are right. Adduction of my scapula, because they get closer back there together. Adduction of my scapula and
Uh,
Let me take that back. Let me take that statement back.
retraction.
Retraction. It's literally what I'm doing. I'm retracting my shoulders. I'm taking them back. Thank you.
Okay.
Good job, man. Good job. Good stuff. Miss Vincent. Hi, Miss Vincent.
Hi.
Miss Vincent, what am I doing now? I'm not talking about a medial rotation either. I'm talking about my scapula's kind of coming forward there.
Abduction of your scapula?
It is. Abduction, abduction of the scapulothoracic joint is 100% correct. And can you give me another term?
So easy to think of when you ask other people, and then
I know.
you ask me.
I know. I actually had that same experience. Like when I'm watching something, I'm like, "That's easy. Why is it so hard?" Then I go do it. I'm like, "Oh, that was really hard." Yeah. Well, I guess you're not a pro yet, but
No,
maybe
definitely not.
Maybe you will be one day. Do you want a clue?
Yeah.
I just gave you one.
I thought so.
It starts with pro. Yes, what you were about to say.
Protraction.
Yes, protraction. Yeah, protraction. Boom. Nice job. Thank you very much. And thank you for also kind of, yes, explaining that commentary too, because it's so easy when you watch other people. But when you're on the spot, it's like, oh. Yeah. I have that experience with Mr. Ibarra because he's like brilliant, book smart, and he talks to me about stuff, and I'm like, what are we talking about? And he's like, looking at me like, massage? I'm like, you gotta give me some backstory here. He's like an encyclopedia. All right, Miss Walker T.
Yes.
Miss Walker T. Miss Walker T. I'm running out there. Oh, Miss Walker T. What am I doing now?
You're supinating or pronating.
I'm supinating because I can hold a bowl of soup.
Yes.
If I'm heading towards holding a bowl of soup, I'm supinating. Now, by the way, I can be supinating right here, everybody, right? It's about movement. But I am supinating because I'm going to head here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. Miss Walker, why? Hi, Miss Walker, why? Miss Walker, why? What am I doing right now that I'm dumping out your bowl of soup?
Pronating.
Pronating. Thank you very much. Miss Zhong. Zhong. I always say it wrong. I'm sorry, Miss Zhong.
Hi.
Hi. Miss Zhong. Let's see. What? Ooh. Miss Zhong. What am I doing now?
Abduction. Abduction.
No. I know why you're saying that. Abduction's out to the side. And so you're close. It's in front. It starts with an F.
Flexion.
Yes! Flexion. Okay, so Miss Zhong, if this is flexion, and you're right, this is flexion, what's this?
Extension.
Extension. Good. What's this again? You already said it, but what is it?
Abduction.
Yes! And what's this?
Adduction.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was good. That was really good. All right. Let's see. Mr. Brown? Did we ever get a hold of you? Mr. Brown? No? Don't do this to me so close to the end, Mr. Brown. All right. And Miss Hawks. Miss Hawks? Okay, we lost two people. 2 men down. All right. So, Mr. Brown, Miss Hawks, last call. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Let me go back to sharing this with you. Actually, this is a good place to stop. I lied. Sorry.